Folks, if you're on a DDIA, direct deposit installment agreement with the IRS, please, 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 please remember to update your banking information if you happen to change banks. Or what happened to the legitimate P143 may happen to you. Here's what happened. Well, it's kind of a question and also a narrative, so let's go through it. Question regarding wage garnishment. Legitimate P was making monthly payments to the IRS for taxes they owed. They switched banks a few months ago, and they totally forgot about the payment to the IRS and the DDIA since they were automatically coming out of my account. Well, I got paid last week. Come to find out, the IRS garnished my entire check. That might be a stretch. They have to leave you something. I made a whole video about how much the IRS can garnish from your paycheck in another video. Link to that video at the top of the screen. I just now went on the IRS website and edited my bank info to my current bank. My first payment is due on August 28th, but I'm wondering, since I reset up the payment plan, will they still end up garnishing my check when I get paid next Friday? Or am I good to go? Since I set up the payment plan, FYI, it did say my payment plan was approved on the IRS website. Well, first let's answer the question. The IRS, in a perfect world, is going to send your employer a levy release very, very soon. Okay. I would say if you still get your paycheck, there's still the IRS wage levy on your paycheck, right, from your deposit after you set up the IA. It may take a while to fix it, but we would argue for our clients that, hey, this amount was erroneously levied. They got into an installment agreement, right, assuming that keeping the levy was not part of the installment agreement. Sometimes, and it's usually with ROs that we deal with that. If this is an ACS thing, probably not, right? But assuming the installment agreement does not allow for a levy, right? We would argue that, hey, any amounts that went to the IRS after that levy or after that installment agreement was set up were erroneous, and we've been successful in getting those monies back for our clients on that basis. Okay. So, I can't tell you for sure what's going to happen. And sometimes it's the case where the IRS, the IRS sends their levy release to the employer, but the employer's, HR department drops the ball, right? You see this in small companies, where maybe the owner's just handling all HR stuff and they didn't look at that piece of mail and they say, oh, I'll get to that next week, right? It happens in big companies too. When, maybe it's that levy release, the person who deals with that is out of the office or something, stranger things have happened. Okay. So I would say kind of prepare for that, brace for a worst case scenario. But then whatever monies the IRS takes, going forward, I would say you have an argument to get back. Okay. It may, hopefully the IRS sends out the levy release ASAP. Your employer, releases it, or your employer doesn't, take it out of your paycheck. Hopefully that's the best case scenario, but I would say kind of brace for maybe a not best case scenario. Silver lining is I would argue that you should be able to get the monies back after you set up the IA. But this speaks to kind of a bigger issue here of, if you are in a DDIA with the IRS where they're direct debiting your bank account and you change bank accounts, please make sure you update your information with the IRS, right? Or you may default your installment agreement and be back in levy land. I will say that if you've been levied after setting up an IA, that means you must have defaulted on the IA. You should have got a CP 523. Made a video about that. Notice link at the top of the screen. You should have got a CP 523 where the IRS informs you of their intent to default your IA, your installment agreement. But if for whatever reason you did, the fact that the IRS is now garnishing your wages after you had previously been in IA indicates the IA was defaulted and was terminated. Okay. And you may not be able to as easily get in to the same IA you were in before, right? If circumstances have changed or something. Okay. It's like a whole new negotiation. Now it looks like for this individual, legitimate P, they were able to get back into it relatively easily. But I'm assuming they owed less than $50,000 if they're able to just kind of set it up again online. But, technically, the installment agreement has been terminated, right? If you're in levy land again, garnishment land again. So that's something to be aware of. Very important to stay on top of your bank account changes with the IRS so you don't find yourself in one of these unfortunate situations where your wages are being garnished, even though you had been faithfully paying your installment agreement payments, and the only reason you had it for a few months is because your bank account changed. So anyway, folks, I love answering questions like these. Please keep them coming. And if you owe the IRS at least $10,000 or your state at least $10,000 in back taxes, you qualify for a free consultation with us here at Choice Tax Relief. Schedule that consultation by giving us a call at 866-8000-TAX. That's 866-8000-829. Or by going to choicetaxrelief.com, filling out the form on the website, and we will reach out to you. I have some other videos about IRS levies and garnishments here on the left-hand side of the screen for your education and enjoyment. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.